Hey, gang. Happy Wednesday into the first 48. And no, I'm not talking about a homicide show. Although, maybe. Welcome to Up the Middle. It's Wednesday, time for translating Trump. And boy, do we have some questions. Joining us, as always, is Philip Blackett. He's waiting backstage. We'll be talking with him in a second. We're going to hear from Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders, in a response to the inaugural address given on Monday by the new president. Got a couple other things. What else was there? We're going to salute, maybe even hopefully get a definition of that. Talk about some executive orders, a lot of executive orders, and not that he's the only one to do that, but there's one particular I think we all really need to talk about, and we're going to do that today. But first, New Deal is in, and I'm not talking about the prices of drugs with pharmaceutical companies. I'm talking about today we agreed with 99.1 WDJY, where some of you are listening right now, to another year. And as this show is attempting to do throughout the entire week, not just Monday and Wednesday, or excuse me, well, secret's out, not just Monday and Friday, but we are looking to go 2 hours every day throughout the entire week. And starting next Wednesday, that'll be the first one, at least with 99.1. And of course, if we're going to do it there, we're going to work towards getting that on the other stations as well. All right, so let's get some questions answered. Why do I still have, I've got two overlays going today. One was over my camera, one's over the entire program. So let's get rid of that one. There I am. Hey, gang. So let's bring them out. Let's talk about what we experienced for the past 48 hours. And with that, our Trump translator, Philip Blackett.
Dun, 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 dun.
Congratulations. So you need to learn that your camera is backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So you just saluted with your right hand, but the entire world just saw you salute with your left hand. So
all right, take two. Dun, 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 dun.
But according to the vice president,
mm-hmm.
or first lady, as I call him, Elon Musk, you just did the wrong salute.
Listen, it's one of those things, Ross, that I actually have to ask my wife, why does President Trump salute when people are putting their hands over their hearts when they hear like the national anthem and that sort? Maybe you can tell me from an insider perspective. Is that like a thing like the president actually does the salute while others put
Ronald Reagan was the first one to salute the military, getting on and off, actually passing any post, actually, but especially getting on and off Air Force One and
mm-hmm.
Marine One.
Mm-hmm.
He asked an advisor, he said, I'm brain farting now, chief military,
mm-hmm.
the chief of the military. Am I not? And they said, everybody, of course, agreed. And he said, well, I'm going to salute the military every time I get on and off Air Force One.
Mm-hmm.
And so he moved it to Marine One as well. And I think they also do it at some certain posts around the White House, like the uniformed Marines and so on. But that's not the salute I'm talking about.
I was talking about the one when it's like when they play like the song, like they did it at the inauguration. Yeah. Everyone had their hands over their hearts, and there was only one person that did not do that, and instead was doing this. And so that's why I was confused. It's like, is that like a president thing, or did he
I've
not get the
never seen.
memo? Like,
Yeah, I don't think he got the memo.
okay,
If you're referring to Trump, I missed that, but I actually think I turned it on late because we got the schedule that it was happening at noon, and I had a show from 11 to 12, and plus my second hour is 12 to 1, and I turned it on like a couple minutes before 12, and I forget what her name is, but the senator that was the MC for the event was already speaking,
mm-hmm.
and it was just a couple of minutes after that they brought up Chief Justice Roberts. Actually, no, I caught the vice president's swearing in as well, JD Vance, and I said, "Well, okay, time to go, gang." And we were already live, of course, so we switched to that, and I hung out for the speech, and I tried to be professional. I gave it the college try. But we're going to hear from Bernie Sanders about that. But to get out of the way, did you not see Elon Musk, or are you just delaying the inevitable?
At the inauguration ceremony?
At the inauguration ceremony in the arena, yeah.
Not the arena. I watched the rotunda ceremony. I saw where he got really excited when Trump was talking about putting the stars and stripes on Mars. They got a good shot of him getting really like excited. So
Oh, yeah.
I thought that's what you were referring to.
No. So he goes to, because they moved it inside because of the weather, wink, wink, not because of a poor showing of people coming to DC and plenty of rooms being available to rent and hotels dropping the price of, the nightly rate.
Well, it probably would have helped if he was able to pardon all the J6ers before the inauguration. That could have helped with it.
Oh, yeah. 1,500 people that were already in town. Yeah, exactly. Oh.
I can joke about it now. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What, too soon, right? But no, they did an overflow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which of course is the same size as the entire mall. At whatever. When I lived there, it was the Verizon Center.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think it's Capital One Arena.
Yeah,
It's
that
the
seemed
arena
pretty cool, didn't it?
with the caps and I don't know. I didn't watch any of that because I went back to the show and I commenced drinking. But yeah, we went through a couple of vodka cranberries that day.
In celebration, right?
Yes, celebration.
Where he's a jolly good fella. Where he, no,
jolly.
Okay.
But no, whatever speech Elon gave,
okay,
at the arena,
okay,
I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kidding. And for those watching, and who also may not know about this, this is not me doing it. This is me imitating what was done. He goes across like this,
Yeah,
and then straight out.
Mm-hmm.
He did a Nazi salute.
Do they do it with a fist or do it with an open hand, though? Like, technically speaking, that might be a technicality.
It's a fist across your chest.
Yeah.
And I know all the other MAGAs in the world are saying it was a Roman salute, not a Nazi salute.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the Nazis got it from. And the swastika.
So they took it from somebody else and made it their own.
Well, yes, so much so that I watched another radio show where I don't think it's actually radio. One of the more progressives, whatever his name was. Actually, I think I don't know, whatever. One of the more progressives, and he's got this video clip of some MAGA guy, whoever it was, saying it was not a Nazi salute. It was a Roman salute.
From a South African.
From a racist country. Yeah. Yeah.
Which one
See,
is racist, South Africa or America? Which one are we going with?
yes. How's that? You like that one? And by the way, up in the corner is the Buy Blackett QR code. My mug, as usual, on every Wednesday. I just want to drink wine and pet my dog, especially this week. It's been a rough 48 hours.
Maybe I should come up with a mug of Musk doing that salute. Maybe that might be a bestseller. I don't know.
Yeah, probably will be, sadly. But so he does that salute.
Okay.
And at that point, I think the cameraman poo-pooed himself.
Okay.
Because he goes like heavy on the switch, and there's like this automatic, like not too heavy, but it's a very fast zoom in.
Okay.
On Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that the look on his own face is like, oh, what did I do?
Oh, Elon's having that sense of remorse all of a sudden?
Yeah, immediately. So what does he do?
He doubles
Turns
down.
around and does it to the other side of the arena.
So much for remorse.
You know, I'm just giving my heart out, and that's the pounding on the chest, and throwing it out, to everybody. You know, just giving my heart to everybody.
It would have been better.
One time, but a second one.
It would have been better, honestly, Ross, if I was to do this with Elon. Have you ever seen the movie Wolf on Wall Street?
Yes, Leonardo DiCaprio and
you know where I'm going with this.
I forget what the other guy's name is, but
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey too. Yes.
Elon should have done that.
Oh yeah. That wasn't so much. That's more of like a meditation thing, though. Unless you get everybody doing.
Like, if you can imagine Capital One Arena, however 1,000 people or so all doing that versus what Elon actually did, that would have been more poignant.
And 10 times more acceptable.
That's true too.
But so this other guy, Keith something, I think it was, has this MAGA guy on, and they're discussing the goings on, and the MAGA guy tries to say that it was not a Nazi salute. People are over exaggerating this whole thing.
Yeah, I like the background now. It's a new day.
It was a Roman salute. It wasn't a Nazi salute. And the host is like, what the hell is the difference? That's where they got it from. So I said, well, let's look it up. And the host had well done, because he knows that this has been all the MAGA's excuse. And in with respect to present company, I'm not calling them maggots like I usually do. But he already had a visual of, I think, Merriam-Webster of the Roman salute. And he looked up Roman salute. In the first sentence, also known as the fascist salute. So there it is. They're admitting that
so also known as the fascist salute. But what was the original intention that the Romans had when they supposedly created it?
Well, I mean, really the same thing, because their goal was to take over the world. In fact, that's where the Third Reich comes from.
But was that their intention of creating that sort of movement?
That's what they did.
Communicate? No. Just the movement itself. Like that's what I'm curious about. Like fascists, Nazis, they may have their own meaning. But if they were referring to the Roman salute, what was the Romans trying to communicate by doing that movement?
Well, the word fascism wasn't even made yet. I mean, as far as political science and what have you. but they were in the process of taking over the world with a dictator. So it's not like that's complimentary when you're the one they're fighting.
I mean, I would love to know what Elon was meaning behind it. I'm sure someone at least attempted to ask him, "Hey, I saw you do this movement.
You know what?
What was your intention behind it?" Did he say something along those lines?
Yeah, there's just so much going on right now. I haven't aggressively looked for his reply or his explanation, but I'm anxiously awaiting what he tweets or whatever,
or maybe even TikTok too, because supposedly I think he's gonna buy TikTok too. So maybe he might TikTok his movements into like a funny meme video.
So that he can run another social media platform into the ground.
It's better than it going dark all of a sudden.
For all of 10 minutes. That was useless.
Thank you, Trump.
Yeah. And the thing about that was it was actually back up before the deadline.
So it sounds like they made a deal before.
Well, not only that, but when I lost my own account, it was like Friday night. The deadline wasn't until Sunday. But yeah. We got a special guest in the audience today.
Matthew.
One of my Friday co-hosts, Matt Deemer, checking in, saying hold down the tent today. Hold down the fort, I mean. But yeah, I think I went numb when I saw him do that. And then I saw the look in his face. I was like, okay, you know what? He is autistic, because that was the other thing that everybody was blaming it on. I'm like, that is an insult to autistic people, whom I know many. In fact, one of my co-hosts, you are too? Are you really?
I'm on the spectrum.
A co-host from a show where...
Why do you think I like Elon so much?
Do you really want me to answer that question?
He's one of us. What a success story. He's our Einstein.
Yeah.
He's this generation's Einstein.
That's a little aggressive. But Marcella, who is an amazing medium or psychic, she was my co-host for Psycho and the Psychic. And she's dealing with some things at home and down here, actually in Florida. She's actually up by you.
Okay.
Attending to her mom. And once that's settled, we'll get back to that. Just it won't be at the same time we did it, because this is all week now. But I mean, you didn't see it, and I don't have a video of it, so I'll kind of drop it from there, just because. But I mean, wow. It's starting already, and I can't wait. I missed so far this week, but I really wanted to see what Jimmy Kimmel had to say about it, because I did see like the opening, because it was a preview on YouTube. But for Monday's show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, he just comes out on stage and he goes, "Hey, we're back." Because he hadn't gone anywhere, but his co-host of sorts, Donald Trump. Yeah, so he's gonna have fun. And same here. I to an extent, I will enjoy the next 4 years, because I will get practice being sarcastic.
I mean, it's not all doom and gloom for you guys, okay? Like, this is actually sort of a GIF. It's like a backhanded GIF, if you want to call it
meetings, that. It certainly is, but there is a lot of doom and gloom if you're on medication that has recently been negotiated down because one of his executive orders was rescinding Biden's executive order telling the Department of Health and Human Services to negotiate the lower prices. Why would you stop that? I mean, we'll open it up to the phone lines and to the comments and to everything else. I got to take a break, and I'll let our co-host try to think of something for that because I'm stumped. I don't know why. The only reason is that he wants to do his usual claiming credit.
Or unless he feels like there's a better deal to be had. I don't think it's necessarily him just want to be evil Knievel here and just be like, nope, no lower prices for you guys. There's probably a reason behind it. Once again, I wish I could just be a fly on the wall. Netflix, House of Cards, Restart, Trump edition. Yeah. There's something that's probably being said on the phone we're not privy to why that executive order has been done.
Yeah, I hope so. All right. 99.1 WDJY, America One Radio, WZQR, ZQR Talks, and everything at the Mass Media Network. You're listening and watching and attending Up the Middle, translating Trump. We'll be back after these words.
What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym, Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training, a dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum.
Aroma by Peter. Oh, you know what I did the other day? I actually put background music. That was pretty cool.
Were you able to get clearance for Village People?
No. Oh, that's right. That's a big campaign slogan song now too. Oh, wow. You know when the other artists aren't allowing you to use their music, and you got to reach back to the Village People. Stuff that's probably part of what's that called when it doesn't have a copyright protection anymore? Public domain. The Village People running through. But
I can't hear you as well with the music on. I don't know if that's intentional.
There's
I can run with it though.
No. Today it was clipping. I don't know what that ticking was. It wasn't like that the other day. But it sounded good, and I turned it down a little bit more too. But anyway, what are you smelling like right now? I don't mean you, but I mean your workspace at home, your living room, your kitchen. Presuming you're not cooking right now. But what I do, I go to romanbypeter.com and get scented candles, scented wax melts. They're all over the place here. And don't worry, guys, there's very masculine scents there as well. Go to aromabypeter.com/Yergs. And I don't know what the discount there is, but there is one. Or he at least sends you like extra, like a lot of free stuff in addition to what you order. Because I know I get that every time. So go to aromabypeter.com/Yergs and check out what he's got. I don't know if he's got anything for spring, but I knew that there was some fall and holiday stuff that he just took down because obviously we're not in that season anymore. But it doesn't really matter because everything else that he's got is amazing. aromabypeter.com/Yergs for all of your scents. Amazing stuff. So, what did you think of the speech then? If you did see that part.
For the inauguration?
Yeah. Speech do you think I'm talking about?
I mean, he did speak a lot Monday, right? So
there was press conferences too. which I thought was also unique.
So the one I watched was the main event. I would say the inauguration in the rotunda.
Yeah.
Probably the most gangster speech I've ever heard from somebody in a
Oh, yeah.
long time.
I heard
Um,
somebody say, one of the talking head commentaries said that it was more of a State of the Union
yep, I agree.
than
I
it
agree.
was an inaugural address. And inaugural address is like a pep rally, and it's just positive across the board.
Yep.
John Stewart, the comedian,
Mm-hmm.
did a joke during his one show where they've got the kind of broader pan of the entire VIPs that are in the background,
Mm-hmm.
and they take their camera in the studio and focus it on Trump
Mm-hmm.
after he's one of the many slams on Biden, and then it pans over to Biden and gets his expression, and Jon Stewart goes, "He's right there. Wait till he leaves."
Mm-mm.
But no,
Like gosh, I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. I've never seen
how about
somebody.
we can do better?
You could say that on one side. I could see it on another side and say, listen, after all he's been through and still won, and you have the opportunity that everybody's watching, you got your opponents, plural, Biden, Kamala, and Hillary,
All three of them.
all to the side of you. And he's just like, what do I have to lose? I'm here for another 4 years, guys. You can't get me out now. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. In a few minutes, Biden and Kamala go bye-bye. And so for him to say what he said, I'm like, ooh, that's bold. He
I
got
just
some
thought it would be
some bolitas on that one. Brass balls, that's for sure. I
well,
think he actually got a couple of brownie points for me on that one, though. Honestly.
really.
Who,
I thought that was, especially when, in fact, some of the people actually noticed. I started Monday's show
mhm.
trying to support his message that he gave over the weekend
Mhm.
that Monday was going to be a day of unity
Mhm.
and that he was going to bring both sides back together and one country. I didn't last literally 2 minutes.
Mhm.
I started the day with a red, one of my usual Under Armour long sleeve shirts. It's kind of like my trademark look on the camera.
That looks
Today,
good on you.
I'm doing a hockey jersey because it's cold here. We're in the 30s down here. You're not much different. Did you get any snow in Orlando?
No, little frost, but no snow.
Yeah, no, we didn't get any of that or the frost. I think the lowest it got was like 36. But Monday I had a red, to represent the GOP, um, a red Under Armour shirt on,
Mhm.
and I didn't last 2 or 3 minutes. I went and yanked it off and messed up my ponytail and all that. And
Why would you do all that?
I'm not that was not. I was not going to be back on the air looking like I'm supporting that. No way.
Just because of a color?
No. Because of him. The color, you're right. The shirts do look great on me, even with as fat as I'm getting. But the attitude, the fact that he did not at all try to unify the country. He's just continuing to build his base, which is as big as it's ever going to get.
I think to some degree he did, because I think he was very much upfront with people with being honest and saying, here's what the problem is. And I'm going to say, even if the people that I believe caused the problem are literally a couple feet away from me, I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah, but you
And
don't
some
do that.
people may disagree, right? But
Not
I'm also going to share with you what I'm going to do starting day one to make that problem go away. And if he does what he says and the problem goes away and it impacts everybody here, then does that not unite us, and does it not bring us together, and we're in a better situation than we were before?
Well, talking about better situations, what would you have liked to have heard that you did not? Did he hit everything?
I think, yeah, for the most part, it's like, listen, like, you share with everyone. It kind of is like, I'm thinking to myself, is he actually going to have a State of the Union this year? Like, I don't know if, like, if when you get inaugurated as a president, that same month, do you have another official State of the Union?
No, it's not till next year.
Got you. So in some sense, I don't blame him for making this more of a State of the Union, because you know that's your only shot. I think that he was clear on what he felt like the problem was, and was unapologetic in sharing what that was. And I think he also shared what his vision and his intention and his solutions are going to be. And I think he also was being Trump-like, as far as like more of a folksy kind of like entertain the crowd sort of thing. Yeah, I don't think anything was missing. I actually enjoyed it. Especially the boldness, though. Like, think about it. To your point, Ross, some people could look at it as, yeah, I know my opponent is literally right 2 feet from me. I can probably be more gracious, more muted,
you know what?
less like poking the stick at. But I'm gonna remember this probably even more so, because what are you going to do to him? He's the president of the United States. I won. I beat you. I beat you. I beat you. And I beat you. And I beat you too.
No. The guy that he was talking about, he didn't beat.
Which one?
Biden. He lost to Biden.
He beat him. I beat you in the debate. I beat you enough that they took you out. I beat you. You wouldn't even allow yourself to go one more round with me. They took you out.
He was sick.
Okay.
After the debate.
Okay.
And I mean, did you watch it?
You
think he was healthy?
He didn't seem too far at that point than he was when he left that day. He didn't seem like a huge improvement. It looks like it's a little more long term. Even then, he seemed more responsive during that speech than the person actually ran against him. His facial expressions were more entertaining to watch than Kamala.
Well, I think the most entertaining to watch was actually when Hillary laughed right at him with the changing of the name of the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, the Gulf of America?
Yeah. What does that do?
I don't know. I think
it gives another him one more accomplishment. That's not an accomplishment, but he's going to tell everybody how great he made it. And dickhead Ron DeSantis is using it already.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Our governor?
Well, Bernie Sanders doesn't agree with you. This is from his website and the message posted to it. Here, we're starting, if you can see the status bar on the bottom of that screen, we're starting about 2 minutes into it. But
is this like the official Democratic response to Trump's State of the Union then?
You know what? Of sorts, because it is his response. This is what he said was missing. And I don't think we're going to do the entire 5 minutes remaining of this video, but we'll get through this list here.
Trump did not have one word to say about how we're going to address the planetary crisis of climate change. The last 10 years have been the warmest years ever recorded, and extreme weather disturbances and natural disasters are taking place all over the world, from Los Angeles to India, across Europe to North Carolina. Not one word from Trump about climate change, except, of course, to make it clear that he intends to make this horrific situation even worse with drill, baby, drill. Just brilliant.
Did he
In the
did he
coming
miss
months,
did he miss his cue for the air quotes there, or what was the hands up there? It looked like he said, "Ah, screw it," or just going to go with reading the prompter.
and years, our job is not just to respond to every absurd statement that Donald Trump makes. Our job is to stay focused on the issues that are of importance to the working families of our country, and in fact are widely supported by the American people. Let me just mention a few of them. Yes,
So here's the list.
yes, healthcare is a human right, and we must join every other major country in guaranteeing healthcare to all people through a Medicare for All single-payer program. Healthcare is a human right. Yes, we must take on the greed of Big Pharma and substantially lower the cost of prescription drugs in this country. Yes, we must build millions of units of affordable housing and low-income housing. Yes, we must make sure that all of our young people have the ability to get a higher education.
Like, he's planning on doing away with the Department of Education, and with the one executive order we talked about already, he got rid of the mandate to continue to negotiate prices. So, I mean, we got some battles that are coming.
By making public colleges and universities tuition free. Yes, we must work with the global community to combat climate change by cutting carbon emissions and transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel and into sustainable energy.
He got rid of that one too. And I don't think it was ever actually a mandate so much as it was a goal with regards to the EV battery vehicles and so on.
Yes, we must pass legislation to raise the absurdly low federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour to a living wage of $17 an hour. Anybody,
Which, by the way, is still crap money. You're still pulling in less than $30,000 a year at $17 an hour. And I get that maybe servers, because they get tipped, and that's kind of a industry standard. But my kid was making $12 an hour as a cashier at a grocery store, and was just basically working to pay for his car insurance and gas back and forth. He had no money to do anything.
works 40 hours a week in this country should not be living in poverty. Yes, we must pass the PRO Act and make it easier for workers to join trade unions and grow the trade union movement in America. Yes, in order to help fund the needs of working families in this country, we must demand that the wealthiest people in this country, including those individuals sitting right beside Donald Trump at his inaugural, start paying their fair share of taxes. Yes, we must end a corrupt campaign finance system which allows a handful of billionaires to buy elections and move us rapidly into an oligarchic form of society. Bottom line, as we enter the new Trump presidency, we have got to remain focused. We cannot panic. No matter how many executive orders he signs, and no matter how many absurd statements he makes, our goal remains the same. We have got to educate, we have got to organize, we have got to put pressure on Congress to do the right things. And by the way, with Republicans only holding a 3 or 4 seat advantage in the House, we can stop them time and time again if we are organized. Finally, my friends, we have got to fight to create an America based on economic, social, racial, and environmental justice. That's what we've got to work on. Let's go forward. Let's do it. Thank you.
There he is, the burn. So what did you think of that? Did he hit on anything that maybe Trump missed, or were you like, nah, too much too soon?
So, first point, as a response to Trump's inaugural State of the Union, Bernie definitely took the sore loser approach here, because if you were going to do something about this, you should have done something about this 2 months ago, because you had a candidate that was ideologically the same, if not further left from you, Bernie, believing very similarly to what you were believing and advocating for similar things.
I don't think she was further left, and we've talked about this a couple of times too, and probably will again.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump didn't win in November. Kamala Harris lost.
Either way, like she's
still won.
she's
Yeah.
not doing the inauguration.
True.
And if she had won, I'm sure Bernie would not have been saying what he had been saying.
Right.
Right. And so my first thought is, to your point, maybe too little too late here.
Yeah.
Like, if you were really thinking this was something that was serious, why weren't you on the campaign trail more with Kamala, in alignment with what she's saying, sharing your viewpoints, getting people to realize that? Because it sounds like majority of America heard what Kamala said, and a lot of it is similar to what you're saying, Bernie. And the majority of people said no. So they're not going to go along with you on this.
He
Right.
actually gave the 1% that was actually 58% of population was in favor of whatever that particular, I forget what it was, but yeah, it's. And
I mean, it just seems like it's going on faint ears for me, because I think the thing is like of course there's opposition either way, Ross. I get it. If your side won, we'll say
Oh, yeah.
something. If my side won, you'll say something. That's a given. I just think that of him enumerating all the different things we could do, and now we're going to see ourselves as we are the opposition. We are going to push back. Gridlock is better than anything at this point. It does come off to me as like, look, this is what we have to settle for because we didn't take care of business back in November.
Well, that's one of the things that I had always said was an issue with Washington, is this has become such an us versus them that the compromise and reaching across the aisle and the bipartisan work is so few and far between that it's been incredibly damaging.
I agree. And the other thing that comes up too, Ross, I had myself asking myself, okay, Bernie's taken a position, a response to the State of the Union from the president, right, who is seen as essentially, like it or not, the leader of the Republican Party at this point. Bernie's kind of taking a stance as if, is he the leader of the Democratic Party at this point? Do we have a leader?
Funny you say that. David Beckmeyer, who is available on 99.1 WDJY, courtesy of Mastiff Media, and also on Yerg's Radio, just interviewed, I don't have it in front of me, because it is literally funny you say that, because I would share that if I did, or better plan it. What the party is doing is they are conducting interviews among other officials of the party to find the next chair of the DNC.
I have my thoughts as far as who I would nominate.
And David just interviewed Monday one of those candidates for his thoughts on exactly what we're talking about. And that's the partisanship and the anger that immediately comes from it, or is an element for it at this point. And of course, outrage overload, available on 99.1 WDJY, 4 p.m. Friday, and throughout the week on Yerg's Radio. And then his live show is on Yerg's Radio at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, This Week in Outrage, where he and his wife comment on the goings on of the world. But yeah, he talked to one of the candidates that's being interviewed by the DNC just this past Monday. They recorded that episode. So I mean,
Do you
that's
know
gonna
who
be,
it is?
I did. That's why I said if I still had,
I mean, you might not have the footage, but do you at least have a name?
I do if I can pull up the chat, but a Facebook Messenger has been working real slow today for whatever reason on the computer. And by the way, $17 an hour in a 40-hour work week, a 50-hour work year, having 2 weeks off, exactly $34,000. And here we go. I'm speaking with a candidate for DNC chair tomorrow, Jason Paul, about the media's role in contemporary society and the increasing challenges to fulfilling its duty as the fourth estate.
Who's Jason Paul?
Executive within the party.
While you pull it up, can I share with the audience who I would love to
Yeah,
see
sure.
head up the DNC if they want a somewhat decent chance to turn things over
Go
in
ahead.
2026 and 2028?
Go ahead.
That guy?
Did you know who that is? I'm Jason Paul. I'm running for DNC chair.
He looks like Chris Christie's twin brother.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Oh
Who does that?
gosh. Please go ahead. Yes, go ahead and select him if you want.
Well-
I'll enjoy 2026 and 2028 for sure if you let this guy in.
You can go to paulfordnc.com
Oh gosh.
for more.
Are you serious?
And
Yeah, I'll stick on the right side here. Yep.
well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll listen for that interview and see how that goes. But I wanted to show you something else. I don't remember how I was going to be working this into the conversation today, so I'm just going to put it up.
Okay.
I just got to stop drinking coffee too during the show because it drives me out.
Jason Paul, Bernie Sanders, the new leaders of the Democratic Party. Have fun.
For those tracking of what Trump was going to do for the price of groceries, this is from the USDA. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor, in December, the consumer price index for eggs increased 3.2%, making that 36.8% over the year ago level, with an average price of $4.15 per dozen, up 50 cents per dozen from last month. Current demand for egg products manufacturers remains light, as breakers currently have access to sufficient stocks and own production to maintain production at full reduced levels. So supply is there. Price is not coming down, Donald.
Why do you think it's not coming down? Because I could argue why Drill Baby Drill can actually address that, despite what Bernie laments about it.
Well, we're already drilling more than any other president. And I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about Biden. So if it was going to lower the cost of gas without Republican interference throughout Texas, because we know the oil industry is Republican, don't you think it would have done that already?
Yeah, but maybe we haven't dug enough. Maybe we don't have enough supply. If we can increase it significantly, we have more supply, then prices go down.
Right. But we have the most supply we've ever had. That's the point. And
maybe it's not enough.
When the I'll go with Trumpers instead of maggots still again. And
Trumper sounds more. It sounds more friendly. Thank you.
they constantly put up these photos of gas stations where it was $1.87 or whatever from back during the Trump administration. They don't say the date during the Trump administration. Like the fact that the photos coming from during the pandemic when nobody was going to work. The demand plummeted. So here's demand. We don't have a pandemic anymore. It's an endemic now, which means it's coming back every year. Demand is up because we don't have electronic batteries anymore. That's getting taken away. Yet I've got neighbors who've got boat lifts. I know there's some boats in this neighborhood that haven't been off the wreck in the 3 years I've lived here. Wouldn't now be a great time if we're drilling so much? But the price isn't coming down still. You think we got to drill more and that's going to do it?
I mean, we'll definitely see. I think you got to start somewhere by drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
Right. So if we actually put that in place, we're not encumbered by regulation and that sort of thing to actually do it. Let's see if it works. Because I think here's what's going on in my head, Ross. I like the idea that since gasoline and oil is something that everyone essentially needs and impacts all we do, right? Whether you're working for somebody or you're employing people, whether you're producing eggs or you're operating a radio station, to some degree, gas is going to be impacting you. It's not a bad thing to have more supply in your own country, so you're not dependent on other countries for it. That's helpful from a national defense standpoint. That's helpful from a sense of being able to lower prices to benefit your own people. And it's also beneficiary for us from a budget standpoint nationwide, because if we produce more than enough than our own people need, then we can now export that to other countries. And so instead of us paying other countries for the same oil, now they're paying us. And so now that allows us to have more money to hopefully balance the budget and to better improve our people here. But we can't have that if we don't have more supply here, though.
We got to stop concentrating then on just hoarding it all, because we've never stopped importing oil, even during the highest points, even during the pandemic. We've always imported, and that's because whatever we drill, we hoard into a reserve. You know, if this is so plentiful, if this is something that can make everything so much better, put your foot, as Trump, put your foot up Texas's ass and say, start releasing. You're already all billionaires. Your great-great-grandchildren are going to be billionaires for the rest of their lives. Let it go. But instead, he signs executive orders stopping the negotiation of prescription drug prices. And then lets 1,500 terrorists back into the world. We didn't even get to that today.
How we let them back in? Aren't we making it a national emergency at the border?
No, I'm talking about the ones from January 6th.
Oh, okay. All right.
Don't give me that look.
Okay, all right. So you're gonna get mad at you'll get mad at Trump for doing that.
Yes.
But yet we're not gonna talk at all about the last minute preemptive pardon that Biden did right before inauguration to make sure everyone connected to him is protected.
We did talk
because they're clearly innocent.
Blake and I got into,
we're not going to talk about that either.
Blake and I got into a huge fight on that Monday. Matt left. I'm not kidding. Matt in the chat, or I'd see if they were checking in. We get into that, and he thinks that all I do is sit and defend Biden. I've got critiques on Biden. There's things I would have done differently, but I ain't the president.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because somebody doesn't do something the way you would have done it doesn't make their method wrong. And Blake just loves being critical because I don't know. I think when people are like that, it's because they want to show somebody else how smart they are. Blake's a smart guy. You win. You're a smart guy, Blake. We already know that. But he was saying that he's the constitutionalist of our whole team.
Mm-hmm.
You, me, Jane, Matt.
I agree.
And yet he didn't want to respect the fact that it's the president and the president only. And that was something I think it was Jefferson that fought for that, that they should still have some level of kingship is really what they referred it to, because it does bypass due process or void due process.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, that was one of both of their answers for why it was bad, because now it's going to be a tit for tat the whole way, throughout history. I think once we get rid of Trump, we're going to go back to some normalcy, because the Republicans don't like him. They don't. They kiss his ass. You think a progressive like Tim Cook wanted to be there on Monday? Anyway,
that was a nice move.
Yeah, it was
Tim, Zuck is not like all for Trump, but guess who was there?
Yeah. No.
That's what made it legendary.
Anyway.
You had your enemies clearly having to attend, and Trump knew that. He said, "Yep, look who's in power now.
Follow Philip
Whose ring you got to kiss now."
Follow us. Check that QR code on the screen, or go to buyblackett.com/Yergs, or at Philip Blackett for all of his social media. We're going to lose 99.1 in America in a second, so I got to get through these. Go at Philip Blackett, black, the color with 2 T's on the end, ETT. And that's for all your social media, wherever you're at. Yep. Mm-hmm. So wherever you want to be, at Philip Blackett. You can get all the rest of us by emailing the team at newsnewz at Yergs, YERGZ.com. Let us know what we need to talk about next. Let us know how stupid we are. I've got some hate mail that I didn't get to today, too. I'll do that tomorrow when it's just me. All right, gang. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining. Thanks for going with us up the middle with the big dogs. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks, Will. Video. There we go.